Hey everyone, this is Matthew Kent. This is my lunch break at work. Welcome to Theology on the Ground, and I share daily thoughts and daily videos, thoughts from my quiet time. So today, coming out of James 2, very famous verse, one that I think we miss a lot of times because we fail to think deeply enough about it. I think we use it correctly most of the time. We apply it well. And so it's this verse here, James 2:10. For whoever keeps the whole law but fails in one point, he has become accountable for all of it. Some translations will say he's become guilty of all. Now, a lot of times that'll get used in evangelism, and I think rightly. You'll mention the point, somebody doesn't see themselves as a sinner, and so you go on to explain, well, if you've broken the law at all, then you're a sinner, you become guilty of breaking the whole law. And I think to a lot of people this sounds extreme, and so you attempt to explain it. Hey, how many people does somebody need to murder before they're considered a murderer, a criminal? And people would typically say, okay, well, just one. And, you ask them, okay, if you've just committed one murder, are you a criminal or not? And most people would say yes. Now, this is all true. One of the issues is that most people don't consider themselves doing anything particularly as bad as murder. But the other issue I see with it is that that's not where James goes to justify his statement that if you are guilty of breaking one law, you're guilty of breaking the whole thing. His argument is actually much deeper. I don't think the other argument's wrong, that, okay, well, we can see from observation that if you tell a lie once, you're a liar. I think that's fine, but I don't want us to miss the depth and the riches of what is really here. So let's just read the very next verse. I'll actually go back and read verse 10 a second time, and then we'll read verse 11. For whoever keeps the whole law, but fails in one point, has become accountable for all of it. So here's the reason why. He who said, do not commit adultery, also said, do not murder. If you commit adultery but do murder, you have become transgressor of the law. So, excuse me, that one word, he, is absolutely critical here. So if you stumble at one point in following the law, you become guilty of the whole thing. For he, meaning God, who said, don't commit adultery, also said, do not murder, and also said, do not steal, and also said, do not lie, and all of these other things. So in other words, breaking the law constitutes cosmic treason, rebellion against God himself, the one who created you, the one who gave you life, the one who is continually upholding your existence by the word of his power. And you're basically saying, okay, I am going to take my stand in opposition to him. And he's going to say, okay, you are a rebel and a lawbreaker. Because the fact of the matter is, if you flout the law at any point, you're flouting my authority, which is ultimate and which is absolute. So I just think that's a critical thing when we look at this passage. It's definitely in the passage. It's critical to the logic of how James was arguing, and it's also incredibly revealing as to who God is, what he is like, and puts him in his proper place at the center of the universe. So many issues are issues of worldview where we get in trouble because we stop acting and we stop thinking as if God were the center of all things, and he really is. So those are my thoughts from today. James chapter 2, verses 10 and 11. Verse 10 is a really well-known verse. I wish verse 11 were a really well-known verse. So maybe a fun challenge for you today would be, if you have James 2:10 memorized, memorize verse 11 and reflect on its application. And maybe even share that with somebody. Those are my thoughts for today. I really hope you found that useful. I think that's a critical observation that I don't want anybody to miss. And so if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, maybe you're watching this on Facebook, I'll put a link to the YouTube video. Please go and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. Lord willing, I will see you guys tomorrow.